Skip it up and that up. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Rich of Review Tech USA, and if you are a content creator who is looking to partner with a multi-channel network, I cannot recommend Curse Entertainment enough. They are personable, helpful, available, and they will help your channel be successful and grow. To apply, simply click the link below in the description. Now on to today's news story. So it seems to a degree that I was wrong about physical copies of games, because no matter how big the digital distribution industry seems to be getting, where people just download games to their computers or their consoles, people still prefer, especially console gamers, still prefer to get their games by going to a retail store and picking up a physical copy. So all this information comes from a consulting firm from the UK called PwC, and they seem to be pretty dead on, and I agree with their predictions here. So I have a crap ton of notes. I'm going to read them to you, and then I'll discuss how I feel about physical copies still being relevant, maybe even a decade from now. So compared to movies and music, video games are still primarily sold on discs, and that will be the norm for the gaming industry even 5 to 10 years from now. Even with valiant efforts by Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, downloaded games will sell 5.6 billion by the end of this year, which is up 14% from last year. But physical copy game sales, though they are declining, are still selling like crazy and are expected to sell 19.5 billion this year. This will remain close to the same for the next 4 years. Now, console gaming is still considered to be the largest segment in the gaming industry. By 2019, sales of console games delivered digitally is expected to increase to 12.9 billion. But physical copies of games will still be top dog, only decreasing 3% to 18.9 billion. That is crazy. Now, really, it boils down to three main reasons for the persistent demand of physical copies of video games. One is the large install size of games. Some games are reaching over 60 gigabytes required for installs, and consumers in different markets simply do not want or cannot download a game that size over the internet. The second reason is consumers like to share and borrow games. Friends may want to exchange games for a few days to try them out, and this simply is not as convenient with digitally distributed games. I know there are options out there, but it's much easier just to hand someone a damn disc and they could pop it in their console. The third and biggest reason, though, is used games. Consumers like to know they can either buy a game at a cheaper price used, or they can sell or trade their used game once they are sick of it for cash, or to trade in towards another purchase at retail stores such as Best Buy and GameStop. Now, I'm glad to see that this is happening. I'm glad to see that physical copies of games, for consoles anyway, are sticking around for what it seems to be at least another decade. If you asked me before the 8th gen consoles were released, I would have said to you, look, doom and gloom, okay? The physical copies of games are going to go away because the companies want them to go away. Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo would love for you just to download games because they hate the used game market. It would help alleviate piracy somewhat. I know if there's a will, there's a way. I'm fully well aware of that. And I thought no matter what, even if people still wanted physical copies of games, I thought the big three were going to force us to go towards digital distribution. But then something happened. The Xbox One came out and they tried to shove digital distribution down our throats, and people spoke up, got pissed off, and then the industry realized, damn, people aren't going to take our shit. They want their physical games. They want to be able to trade them and borrow them. I guess we have to succumb to it. So I really think that the reason the industry is accepting the fact that physical copies of games and stores like GameStop are going to stick around and the used game market isn't going anywhere is because consumers demanded it. They said, no, fuck you. We don't just want digitally distributed games. Now, do I think eventually in the somewhat distant future that digital distribution is going to be the only option that we're going to have? Yeah, as a matter of fact, I still think so. But I'm glad to see that I was wrong about how fast it was going to happen, because that's the reason I still have consoles, is because I like going to the store or getting a game delivered to me via Amazon and having that physical copy of the game around. Not just because I want to trade it in or whatever. I just like the experience. I like opening up the cellophane. I like looking at the box art. I like having something physical there, in exchange for my money, because it's more satisfying. Maybe that's a human ape thing. It's more satisfying when you give money to get a physical product. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I'm sure there's a lot of other people that feel that way. So I'm glad to see that hard copies of games aren't going anywhere, at least for quite a while longer, and that we could still go to stores and buy and trade games and give games to our friends. It's part of what makes console gaming fun, and that's part of what keeps me owning consoles, because if it wasn't for physical copies of games, I would just game on PC, to be honest with you. But it's the fact that I could go to the store and buy either a new game or used game for a console cheap that keeps me having a console in my home. So, hey, there you go, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. It's because of the fact that you still have physical games that PC guys like me still own consoles. There you go. That's another reason you may want to stick to putting physical copies in stores. Anyway, folks, this is Rich of Review Tech USA. Make sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for supporting my channel. Have a good one.